We're live. Hi, everybody. Stop reading, Mark. We're live. Welcome to
Such a good
another
issue of Indie Author Magazine.
rousing edition of Self-Publishing Insiders, where today we are thrilled to welcome Chelle Honiker. Welcome, Chelle.
Hey guys, thank you. So glad to be here.
Oh, it's our honor to have you here. And of course, we've got some other guy. What's your name again?
I'm Mark. I'm a big fan of Chelle Honiker. I just wanted to be here and chat.
So, for the uninitiated, Chelle Honiker, she is the publisher of Indie Author Magazine, and you are now also, in all your copious amounts of spare time, you are now
Right?
also the program manager of the upcoming Author Nation conference, which
I
debuts
am.
in November of 2024. That's
November
so
11th through the 15th. Yeah. We just
that's
got back and we're doing it again.
right. Yeah, you guys. Yeah,
Is this the first interview for Author Nation? So we have
It
the
is.
exclusive at SPI, right?
Yep.
right.
Yep.
All right,
You
there you
guys
go.
you guys got the scoop. So ask me anything.
Well, we will. Don't trust us. That's what we do. But I want to take it a step back a little bit and kind of I'm really interested in how you landed here, Shell. Like I understand you've been teaching and training and speaking and consulting and doing all those types of things for you're going on up to 3 decades if I read in your bio.
Yeah, I'm old. Yeah, 3 decades. I started at a travel agency way back
Uh-huh.
in the late 80s, and I was the one that could fix the printer. And so that sort of started me on my technology journey. I've always loved technology, and I've always
Hmm.
been real passionate. Then websites and uh, kept teaching and training and speaking, and got picked up to go around the world to speak and train, and that was
Yep.
so much fun. And then I started to work for magazines, for travel magazines, and did a lot of
Oh,
publishing and produced the magazines for a couple of travel agencies, and then fell into the lovely world of indie publishing. First, because I had a trad deal to write travel textbooks and travel guides and travel magazines, and I made almost no money doing that. And I thought there's got to be a
hmm.
better way. So
Right.
I started looking around. I went to the Smarter Artist Summit in Austin, Texas, and met a
Mm,
bunch of those folks. Super smart. Johnny Truant is just one of my
yeah,
favorite people. He's just brilliant.
he's a
And
great guy.
that I met Craig Martell, and I met Michael Anderle and Honore Quarter, and like dozens of other people that are well-known names in the industry, and learned about indie publishing. And then
Okay.
really the catalyst for everything was I went to the 20 Books show in Edinburgh, and journeyed all the way from Texas to Edinburgh, Scotland, and met my co-founder and business partner Alice Briggs, who also lives in Texas. But we went to Scotland to meet, and came back from that and met just some of the most amazing people that have become good friends.
Hmm.
And together we launched Indie Author Magazine in May of 2021. So we started out sprinting together during the pandemic, and then founded the magazine. So that's the very truncated version of how I landed here.
Yeah, well, selfishly, I love having guests like you on because I'm like, well, I can read all about you as much as I can find on the internet, but if I can selfishly bring you in here, then I get to ask all the questions and clear my mind. And now I feel like I finally have that foundation. Like, oh, okay, because I wasn't sure how you made the transition from like your previous day jobs and your training and the education and the consulting that you did over to Indie Author Magazine, and now all the pieces have fallen into place for me.
Yeah, it took an epiphany in Scotland to sort of decide that this is what I wanted to do. And really I kind of
Mm.
think it goes along with, we don't define indie as self-published
Hmm.
at the magazine. We define indie as the spirit of independence and taking charge of your career, and however that looks, whether you're traditionally published or trad published or self-published or any combination of them, that's what indie author is to us. So it's the magazine is named Indie Author Magazine specifically in the spirit of this industry, and how we all sort of define our own journey and define success differently and what we want out of it. So that's kind of that was my epiphany in Scotland, and that's
Hmm.
sort of what we've brought into the magazine as our ethos.
Yeah, and it seems like it's grown really, really quickly, and we're
It
super on
has.
board with the mission of the magazine. Can you talk about how the magazine is arranged and how, like, what the different sections are and how it
Sure.
plays into that mission?
Yeah, so when we first launched, we started out following the journey of an indie author. So we
Hmm,
started, our first issue was outlining, for example, and then our next issue was plotting and first drafts and cover design and so on and so on. And so in every issue, you're going to find uh, articles designed to help get a working indie author the best information, the best tips, the best tricks,
yeah.
hacks to get there. So there's really something for everyone. We try and hit that sweet spot of working indie author, and our tagline is when writing means business. So we
Hmm.
talk a lot about craft. We talk a lot about business. We talk a lot about marketing and advertising. We talk a lot about mindset and wellness because we feel like being an indie author requires that you're a holistic author and you're paying attention to getting up from your desk and what
Yeah.
is chair yoga and focusing on your mindset and productivity. So we really do look at every aspect of an author's life and career and try and offer something for everybody in that sweet spot.
Love it. Then can I share the, let's see. I want to make sure that everybody knows how to get to the magazine. And you were kind enough and generous enough. Did I get the URL right?
You did, yeah. indieauthormagazine.com/D2D. We would love to give a digital copy of the magazine to everybody. So go there and just do a quick checkout, and we will get it to you via our friends at BookFunnel. They deliver all the digital versions of the magazine.
And it's so
Fantastic.
smooth. And I think you guys are going to love, our viewers are going to love the content because there's so much content in there, and everything that you read, every single article in there is like, oh, I can learn something from this. I can learn something from that.
Yeah.
And
It's true.
in the current edition, isn't that the one with Kevin Tumlinson?
It is. Kevin Tumlinson graced our cover this month. He was he and Nick Thacker sort of had a battle, why was Nick on the cover first? But Kevin's got such a great story and he's got such an excellent attitude about this industry. So we were really pleased to have him on the cover
Yeah, he
this
really
month.
does. He really
Yeah.
does. And Mark Lefebvre was on the cover too.
He was. He was. So we choose authors, which actually kind of segues into this. We choose authors based on their inspirational story
Hmm.
or something that they have to share or some aspect of their journey in indie publishing that resonates with other people. So it's not a popularity contest.
Sure.
There's rumors out there that you can bribe me, but it's not true. It's really a committee decision. We bring
Oh,
in
so much
Nicole
for that.
Schroeder. I know,
So
right?
much for that
Believe
strategy.
me. No. So because the magazine is an editorial and journalistic effort, we have a really strong set of guidelines that we follow to be sure that we're publishing with our whole constituency and our readership in mind. So
Hmm.
we have Nicole Schroeder, who is a journalism major, and I'm convinced is some sort of sorceress. She is an amazing editor in chief, and she keeps us on the journalistic side of everything. So if you write for us, which we encourage everybody, if you'd like to write, we have 61 folks that write for us now. It's
Hmm.
grown from 24 to 61, and we would love to hear from anybody that wants to write an article for us. Just go to the website and down at the bottom it says write for us. But she keeps us on the journalistic side of everything. So where I'm a little bit hyperbolic and say this is the greatest software that's ever been designed, she'll go, red line, no, it is software, this is what it does. She keeps us very much on the straight and narrow, and we appreciate that very much. But we come at both the covers and the content with the strongest journalistic standards. So even though we do accept advertising and we do have a really strong partner network that's now run by Elaine Bateman, um, uh, that doesn't affect our editorial standards or what's in the magazine at all.
Cool. Yeah, Nicole's a good writer. I was just reading the letter from the editor up front, and I thought, wow, this person can write. It was just super flowy, super sharp. You gotta love that.
I love that. And it's funny because, I will put together a technology article, which is kind of like my primordial ooze. Like that's what I do. That's so ingrained in who I am as a tech writer. And then
Hmm.
I send it off and I'm like, it is so clean. And I get back slashed with red and she makes me a better writer. So I'm only mad for like 2 seconds. I just look at it and I'm just so mad. But then I go, yeah, this is amazing. I can make all these changes. And she makes it so much better. She's an excellent editor. It's amazing what editing can do for any
Oh yeah.
piece of work.
You gotta love your
Yeah,
editors, even when you
I
hate your
do.
editors.
It is the definition of a love-hate relationship,
Yeah,
precisely.
So can I
my
ask
Yeah.
a question about the magazine itself? I mean, it
Yeah.
is absolutely gorgeous, glossy, full color.
Oh,
Well, I mean, the whole thing. It's not
it
just
is.
black and white interior with newsprint paper, but
yeah.
this thing has gotta. I mean, I can only imagine the cost of time and energy for the entire team that puts together this great
Right.
magazine, but the cost to produce this is just phenomenal. I'm curious about why you invested so much in it when you probably could have gotten away with a lesser product in terms
I
of the
think
quality of the print and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's twofold. One is a testament to the vision of Alice Briggs, who's the creative director and co-founder. We have a three-legged stool in our exec team. It's Nicole, Alice, and myself, and it really is Alice's vision to make it so beautiful. And we really felt like the industry deserved some legitimacy. We felt like the industry deserved some recognition, and we wanted it to be you know, the business journal for the industry. And so we didn't want to go out with something that was less than. We did want to go out with something that was beautiful, and we didn't want people to say that, oh well, here's a cute little zine, right?
Mhm.
It was very much by intent, and we also were able to follow the exact path, if you will, that an indie author uses every month because it's a monthly magazine. So we publish every single month, and so we publish via print, right? And we
Mhm.
also have our digital copy, which is a full color replica of it. We have an iOS app. We have a Google Play app. We have a podcast where we've digitized all of the articles and using our avatar Indie Annie's voice to read all of the
Mhm.
articles. So we really do have the most expansive magazine that you could expect to have. We went big. It was go big or go home, and we went big. So
Well, the last
it's
issue I did listen to, not the one with Kevin on the cover, but the previous issue, the Future of Publishing one. I was on the highway coming back from a conference, and I listened to Indie Author Annie, the digital voice of Indie Author Annie, and I
yeah,
quite enjoyed. That was the first time I'd actually listened to it, and that was a really great because I was out of podcasts to listen to, so I went to that one next. It was fantastic.
it's an hour-long podcast every month, which is just that's I mean, it's huge, and it's not that sometimes we do translate articles in their entirety. For example, we have columnists every month. We have Honoré Corder, and we have
Mhm.
Steve Higgs and Craig Martell, who are generous enough to give us articles every single month. And so we have the podcast in their entirety. Those letters, those articles are in their entirety. The others are summations, so they're easy to listen to, and you get the gist of it. And then when you're ready for more, you can go back to the app, or you can go back to the website, or you can go back to the print, and you can see and have the resources there. So it's kind of the best of all possible worlds. And I just think Indie Annie just has such a smooth voice. She's amazing. She's British, and
Oh.
Yeah.
she's our advice giving aunt. Every
Yes.
month, she answers a letter from a reader with a tipple in her teacup and a style that she just only she can have. And let me just say, it's not me. People think it's me. It's not me. I don't write Indie Annie. We actually have an Indie Annie, and she's behind the scenes, and she's hilarious, hilarious.
It's a
Love
mystery for
it.
us to solve.
It
Who is
is.
Indie Annie?
You're not gonna give that
I'll
up?
ne- I'm not giving that up. You know what? I've only successfully kept three secrets in my whole life. One was the name of the Author Nation conference before it was announced at the 20 Books conference. One was the gender of my granddaughter because I was the keeper of the gender reveal secret. And the third is who is Indie Annie. I can only keep those three. Everything else,
Wow.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible at secret keeping.
I'll
Terrible.
tell you a new
All right, well,
secret so
noted.
you can then reveal one of those other secrets so that you can just keep
Okay.
three. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I was
Off
just
air, of
gonna
course.
say, like, spit it out, Mark.
No,
What do
that
you have
wouldn't
for
be
us?
a secret if we broadcast it.
Right?
Well,
How to
I'll give
pronounce my name.
you and your rules. Okay. So you answered the question for me earlier about how you kind of met, Andrew Lee and the whole crew, Craig and the whole crew. But when did you start to know, if you can reveal this, when did you start to know that, okay, 20 Books is going to kind of phase out and this new conference is going to take the place of 20 Books? Because And originally in my notes, I had written down, ask about the evolution of the 20 Books Conference, but it's not really an evolution. It's like a whole new,
It's not.
yeah. So maybe we should talk about what 20 Books was first, because I'm
Sure.
sure that there are going to be a lot of viewers who have no idea what 20 Books is or was the conference itself. So maybe talk a little bit about the ethos of what 20 Books was and what it represented and what the new conference is becoming.
Yeah, so I think in its truest form, the 20 Books Vegas conference, which is what Author Nation has taken over, is or was the brainchild of Craig Martell. It
Mm-hmm.
was a labor of love. He carried that up the mountain himself. Every single year, he put his house on the line to make sure that it was funded, and
Wow.
he created a group of volunteers and committee members that were absolutely so dedicated to him to get it off the ground every single year that by the end of it, he was just exhausted. I mean, it was his health was really taking a toll and the stress
Yeah.
was really taking a toll. And he did it with just for the love of the industry, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
his love letter to the industry. And there were those of us that watched him that were just getting really concerned about his health
Yeah.
and making sure that he could, continue to write books, which is what he wanted to do. And so behind the scenes, there were a lot of different ideas that were floated for him, and I don't know the specifics of all of those,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know that Joe Solari and Sue's, his lovely wife and partner, came to him, and the deal is now they have taken over the financial contracts that Craig had negotiated for the 24, 25, and 26 Vegas conference. So that's sort of the evolution, is that it is a new conference. It's not going to be
Yep.
an evolution necessarily. It is a new conference.
Okay.
Now, having said that, because the team that's in place has sort of worked with Craig and
Mm-hmm.
gone through the fire and the gauntlet with him and seen what's possible in terms of community and in terms of generosity and in terms of all of the good that's come out of it, there are those of us that are going to continue on to work with Joe. And I think you will see a lot of
Okay.
that same generosity of spirit and continuity of care and, the weird stuff that we like maybe Hawaiian shirt day and, pictures with his dad, selfies with Craig's dad, those kinds of things. So I think we get the best of both worlds, right? We get a new conference that is a little more reader centric, that kind of outgrew the bootstrapped mentality that Craig's always had. I think, Craig, one of the things that I've always admired about Craig is his level of trust by putting somebody up on the stage. He had to know them, and it was by
Yeah.
invite only. And now we've sort of outgrown that. And now we have a programming committee where we're doing a call for speakers. And it's not because, we're rejecting what came before. We just recognize that we've outgrown
Sure.
that, and now it's time for something new. So I've always said we stand on the shoulders of greatness, and we want to build something that still maintains that friendly. Like, I think of 20 Books Vegas, it's always been a family reunion for me. That's where
Oh,
I
for
go
sure.
every year to just see all the people that I absolutely love in one place. That's just the coolest part of it. And so I think we're going to continue that. But also, because Joe is just such a savvy business guy, he's going to be able to inject a lot of that so that people come away with really actionable business items that they can come back and grow their business. And I think they'll see some more immediacy because we're going to be big on that. We're going to be big on takeaways.
Awesome. Yeah, there's just a ton of educational presentations and sessions and workshops and networking opportunities
Yeah.
at 20 Books. So I know that just knowing this team that's taken over, knowing that, there's going to be just as many, if not more, of those kind of presentations and
Yeah.
content for
A
authors.
lot of that. I think, so we're going to build it in tracks now. It's going to be a little bit different. So my background also is
Okay.
TED Talks, and I'm a TEDx organizer. So I'm sort of big on the TED ethos of organization. What's your big idea? What's your takeaway? Let me see your outline. Make sure that you are adhering to certain standards. We've
Does that
polished
mean
your
you're going to
talk.
limit presentations to 18 minutes?
No, not 18 minutes, but we will have an outline for every talk.
Sure.
We will know going to be there. We want to be
I think
sure
that's
that
great.
I think it's going to be great because then people will be able to understand what they can expect by going to a
Mm-hmm.
session. I think sometimes people have come away disappointed because the speaker might have had to kind of come back to basics and try and get everybody up to speed in a session, which sort of
Sure.
takes away time from the beginning of a session to make sure everybody knows what is KDP. Well, some people are there really to kind of speed through. They've already published 10 or 15 books. They don't need that
Yeah.
information. And because we sort of have labeled them basic, intermediate, and advanced, we've let people kind of self-select where they are and not really given them the tools to more clearly define what that is for themselves. And we
Mm-hmm.
haven't clearly defined what that talk objective should be. And so that's what I kind of bring to it is we're going to have objectives for every one of the talks so that everybody can understand what they should come away with. Then we're also going to break them into different tracks. So we'll have a craft track, we'll have a marketing track, we'll have an advertising track, we'll have a business and finance track because Joe made me put it in. He's a business guy, finance guy. We'll have a mindset, wellness, and productivity track.
Oh, that's
We'll talk
interesting.
about, yeah. Again, coming back to what we've seen with the magazine, with having a whole author mentality and making sure that
Yep.
people have tools to keep going, to prevent burnout,
Yep.
to look at prosperity, look at manifestation, how they can really incorporate some of those things. Some things may be for them, some things may not be for them. We're
Yep.
going to try and offer a lot of different opportunities for people about a lot of different things. And then we'll have a production workflow, which will be how do you use draft to digital to publish your book wide, right? We can have those
Mhm.
tracks. We'll have two types of speakers. We'll have invited speakers, which are subject matter experts from the industry. And then we'll also have our industry experts that come and speak, and they can do product tours. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to focus on technology because that's me. I'm tech girl. And so we'll have a tech cafe where you can go do one-on-one or one-on-many, like quick training sessions. We're going to set up some of the rooms a little bit differently so that they are classroom style as opposed to theater style. And you'll be
Okay.
encouraged to bring your laptop and sit in and learn a little bit more and do things hands-on. And we'll have folks that can come around and help you get connected to the internet if you need to, right? You'll have some help in the audience so that you're not kind of left to your own devices. So
Yeah. And I'm sorry, go
we
ahead.
want to, sorry, I was going to say, we just want to make it a little more collaborative so that you can, do something right then and not go back to your room and try and figure it out or fiddle with it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about really good conferences is that you come in there and then it's like, wow, there's like this fire hose of information that's
Yeah.
coming at you. And then you feel like I'm just gonna go grab information from everybody's table. And then I'm an introvert, so I'm gonna go up to my room and kind of decompress and read through all this stuff. But I love the collaboration because that's when you learn, when you're actually hands-on and doing this kind of stuff. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you mentioned when I visited your table during 20 books that there's going to be kind of an updated Wi-Fi experience as well. So there'll be
Yeah.
faster internet.
There'll be
Did I get that
faster
right?
internet, and we're working out the details right now, but we want some of the
Sweet.
rooms to be hardwired so that you
Nice.
can come in and you'll have fast internet and not have to rely on Wi-Fi that's down there. It's just crucial, right? So that we can have that more elevated experience for everybody and
Yeah.
they can take away with things. The other thing is that just going back to, you get overwhelmed and then you go decompress in your room. That's true, but as a conference organizer, that to me is a signal that you're overscheduled, that people are getting too much information. And so I would like to sort of create a little more buffer, a little more space for some of our friends that might be neurodivergent or autistic or need a little bit more of a break and get really, truly more overwhelmed. We don't want them to feel like they're missing out if they have to take a break or take a space. So we're going to look at how we can more healthfully address that. So if you do need to get away, get away. You're not going to miss anything. We'll make sure that you've got it when you come back. And we're not going to try and overschedule you like every 15 minutes. Like I get freaked out by that. I can't imagine.
Wow, that's
trying to cram in all
Chelle
those
Honiker,
sessions.
ladies and gentlemen. I've never heard a conference programmer say that before because it's usually like just more. if you're feeling overwhelmed, well, that just means it's a good conference. Like, too bad for you. Just deal with it,
Yeah.
kind
I
of a
think,
thing. And
you
you're like,
know,
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, this is my opinion. I've been to a lot of conferences, and the ones that I got the most out of, that I made lasting, sustainable change afterwards, are the ones where I did have time to sort of stop
Yeah,
and think about what I was doing, and I could talk with other people, and I could chat with other people, and I could network. And I think one of the things that we've talked about a lot is the 20 Books Edinburgh conference, which we had time before the conference actually started to meet and sprint and talk to other people in our genre. And then when we actually got to the education portion at the end of the week, we were able to have more cohesive conversations about it, because we'd already gotten
yeah,
to know each other and we had a network of folks that we could bounce stuff off of. And I think, especially, we have such a solo industry sometimes, we all write alone, right? We're not sitting across from somebody usually writing. We're usually in our little hidey holes. So it is important to have that networking experience built in by design, so that people aren't feeling overwhelmed. And programming is one way that we can do that. The obvious networking opportunities are another way we can do it. We also have Nora Phoenix, who's in charge of trust, safety, and professional development. So she's going to make sure that everyone feels safe and included. She's just the perfect person for that. So we've put a lot of time and care into that to make sure that as we move forward, and this is a new conference, that we've addressed some of the things that have been, complaints at other conferences, but also just evolution, because we're bigger and we have
hmm
more people that have been able to say more things to us. We're taking feedback right now, and we can build that in.
I love the balance that you're thinking about,
yeah,
not just the energy level, neurodivergency, different ways different people like to learn and need some space and time to absorb. But even just going back from a speaker's perspective, is in the audience, it could be somebody who's never published a book before. It could be
yeah,
somebody who's
Yeah.
only published on Amazon. It could be somebody who's published 100 books. And so when you're putting together the content, you want to make sure people walk away with value. And I hate overwhelming people who aren't ready for the next level stuff. But then when you
yeah.
when you go too basic for some of the advanced people, they're disappointed. So you end up disappointing everyone, as opposed to going, this is a beginner session. If you've never published a book, this is for you. Or you know
Right.
what I mean? That sort of thing. I love that you're approaching that flexibility and
Yeah.
that dynamic nature from so many different angles in order to make sure people can come at the conference no matter where they are in their publishing journey, no matter whether they're indie published, whether they're with a traditional publisher, whether they're a little bit of both. They can all come away with value. That is just absolutely, it's like you're building an author nation.
It is. Amazingly, it is an author nation. The other cool thing is that Joe is really big on technology, and I'm really big on technology. So we've been brainstorming a wizard that will guide you through choosing your sessions when we've developed and decided what sessions will be there. So that, you may be really strong and not need a basic cover design, but you
hmm
might need a basic editing. So we don't want to pigeonhole you and say, you are a basic track person. You are in this track and you have to stay in this track. We want you to kind of pick and choose your gap learning opportunities, so that if you need help with cover design, but you don't need help with ads, right, you can pick and choose which one works for you. So we're creating an interactive wizard that will let you actually pick and choose the right sessions for you. You can go to any one you want. We're not going to hold you to that, but I think you're going to get the best experience from the conference by knowing what the objectives are for the course or for
hmm
the session, and then matching where you are and being able to self-select that way. So we'll create an itinerary for you, because we're leaning into the whole travel theme with Author Nation, and we'll have passports, visas. I love
That's
it.
And
really
you have
cool
cruise
and
directors
innovative.
to help you, right?
We do. We have cruise directors to help us. I know. So great.
So, Shell, is it safe to say that with Author Nation, it sounds like there's going to be a melding of the author community with the reader community, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Is it going to be like sort of a 50-50? Are there going to be sessions for readers? And how are you going to integrate those two communities? Because as a reader, that's pretty exciting if they can get
It is.
in touch and hang out with their favorite authors.
Yeah, it is. And I think we'll see kind of an evolution of that as well. So
Sure.
for the conference, the schedule is Monday right now will still be our industry vendor day, right?
Okay.
Where indie authors can come and meet all of their favorite people like Draft to Digital and Indie Author Magazine and all the others. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be education, just as it has been.
Mhm.
Thursday night, we're going to start transitioning to a reader event. And so Thursday night, we have fantastic keynote speaker. But again, it is designed to bring readers in. It's not
Sure.
a keynote speaker specifically for indie authors. It's for readers. It's Kevin Smith, who is those of us that know are like, what? Oh my gosh, because he embodies the indie spirit. He, did movies and he's written books and he does have just this indie spirit about him, but readers are going to come for that experience. So he's our keynote speaker Thursday night. And then we transition into Rave on Friday. Rave is the Readers in Vegas event. I never get that right, but it's Rave. Just go with Rave. And Mandy
Go with Rave.
Stevens is in charge of that. She's taken over for Terry Wells Brown, who is taking a much needed break, but will still be there. And we are not letting her go in the slightest. But Mandy Stevens is taking over to craft that. I think you'll see more of a Comic-Con flavor with that. We're going to recalibrate the rooms a little bit so that certain authors might have signing rooms. And we are in talks with some trad authors to come in so that they bring their readers in. So if our larger trad authors bring in their readers, they are now introduced to indie authors that they might not have already known about. So we're looking to make it more of an event for the readers on Friday. We have something secret that we're not ready to talk about, but might be cool and fun Friday night.
On, you and your secrets.
It's the fourth secret. No, you can only
I
keep
know,
3.
that's 4 secrets.
It's I wish I could talk about it, but it might involve a ballroom. That's all I'm going to say.
I think I know a little bit about this.
We don't have anything signed yet, so I can't say, but I can say that we might have a pretty cool something if we can renegotiate some of the space and that. But what that will do is it'll give us the opportunity to have an entire reader event. And here's the other cool thing, because Craig did such a great job of negotiating hotel room rates at the Horseshoe. He really did. $99 a night on the Strip is like unheard of now. It's $99 for the weeknights and $109 for the weekends. We can open up our block rooms to readers to come. So we are not just limited with readers that are in Vegas. We're going to offer packages to readers across the nation that want to come in, have a cheap Vegas weekend, and come to a really cool thing to meet their favorite authors. And
I bet those authors would want to get stuff into those readers' hands, right? Little packages for their hotel rooms when they arrive.
Absolutely. They could have their own little private signings. They might have readings. We, might have you could schedule a brunch with your readers at Vanderpump or one of the other restaurants that are there. Vanderpump is my favorite now. It's just the greatest. So there will be opportunities for you to connect with readers. That is one of Joe's main focuses, is how can you connect with readers in a more organic, authentic way? And how can you build a fandom in a much more organic, authentic way?
That's why we're all here, to connect with those readers. I want to ask you a question, because I'm afraid that there might be some authors who are listening to us, and they might be thinking, well, that all sounds really cool, but I'm just starting. I'm an aspiring author. I haven't published my first book yet. Is this conference for me?
Yeah, it absolutely is for you, because first you'll get the network. You'll be able to meet all of the vendors on Monday. You can go around and meet anybody that you can find editors, you can find publishers, Draft to Digital's there. We've got every cover designer. Hopefully we'll have a booth there next year. So you'll be able to meet and talk with all of the different vendors. And then you can come to the education sessions. And we really are designing it so that if you're pre-published, not yet published, you can come and learn about the best way to publish and the best way to set yourself up for success. So it really will cater to everybody at every aspect of their career. We're not leaving anybody behind. I think that's one of the beautiful things too, is that not just the education, but also the networking. I could not have done anything that I have done without the people that I met in the industry. There's no way I could have done this. It's overwhelming, it's stressful, it's scary. And by meeting the people, you meet your best friends. I say, I get up and I go to work every day and play with my best friends. Like, that's my job. My job is to play with my best friends all day, every day.
It's tough.
Like, I have the best job in the world. But I credit that with the conference, with going to the conference and meeting those people. and talking with them every day and sharing. I mean, we kind of trauma bonded over the pandemic, but I'd like to think that we don't need trauma to find our friends.
Right.
in
Like,
the
I had COVID
industry.
for 10 days. I had it for 12
Ah,
days. Hey.
it was awful. Yeah, it was
And
really strange. We were sprinting every day, twice a day, and we had Marion in Germany, and we had Susan in
yeah.
Kent, and Tammy in Edinburgh. And we were all like, "What's going on outside your window?" Because none of us could leave the house for a long
Yeah.
time. So it was kind of cool to make those friends. But I would like to say that you can have that springboard at a conference, which is where we were without the trauma bonding after of a
And
pandemic.
I just want to underscore that how about the networking? The networking is magical. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it
guys put
is.
so much work into the programming, and of course, that's extremely important. You have to do it. It's very worthwhile. Everyone is going to learn a ton from going to those sessions. But the networking is like you'll see people on the floor you'll see a New York Times bestselling author, and I've said this before, just sitting on the floor surrounded by 4 or 5, 10, sometimes 20 authors who haven't published their first book yet, and taking all the time needed just to kind of walk them through the industry, what it takes, who to talk to, and that sort of thing. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And I have to say it's also organic because there's also the
Hmm.
unofficial meetups that go on a list. So you've got your urban fantasy folks that, go off in a room and chat about that. You've got your nonfiction authors, your children's books authors. Everybody has a little home and they have got a little meetup, and we're going to try and facilitate better space allocation for folks so that they have those meetups in those rooms. And there is something really magical about meeting people that are doing the same thing that you do. This industry, I've said this, it's such an anomaly. We are not competition to one another. There's
No.
no authors that are in competition with each other. People aren't buying one book, right?
You're right.
The thing that we're all trying to achieve is a satisfied and happy reader, and the only way to do that is for them to read more than one book. So when you go and you meet people that are doing things, you don't have to be afraid of sharing a secret recipe or a secret
Right.
sauce. that's it's just the most collaborative industry that we could have. I've walked through the halls and seen Joe Penn sitting on the floor,
Oh, totally.
writing stuff out for stuff. Like there's no elevation. We're all in this together. It's the coolest industry you could possibly join. It's the
It really
coolest.
is. There's no barriers. Everyone's
There's
so open
not.
to talking to one another.
Yeah. And I think that's just a testament to, going back to how this industry has fostered one another. We all, we talk about the journey up the mountain and we talk about things, but really what I've seen is people reaching back to grab people to pull up with them, and the people reaching forward to be pulled up.
Hmm.
And I've just seen it's the most generous industry that you can imagine. And it is an anomaly. I can't explain it any other way. But it's all of us, right? It's not from one person or one conference or one event. It just is how this industry operates. It's just very generous.
True. Absolutely. I'm going to bring up a quick question here from Tess. I think we may have covered it, but I want to make sure. Thanks for the question, Tess. She asks, so the room blocks are bigger the days the readers are expected to attend?
So I don't know the specifics of that, but
Okay.
I do know that the room blocks, we've had wiggle room in the past
Okay.
to fill those up. So, and I have great faith in Joe and his ability to negotiate. If we suddenly have a surge, what I would say is that it really will be important that when we open up registration in January, that you get your registration booked, and you get, as an indie author, you get your room booked. That way, no one's left out.
Gotcha.
So it will be first come, first served. It always is. So go ahead and book it. But we do have enough rooms. The other cool thing is that because like this last year, we saw there was a lot of Formula One stuff happening,
Oh,
which
yeah.
was negotiated after Craig locked in all this stuff. So those room rates on the strip were like $300, $400, $500 a night in anticipation of Formula One. We're locked in at 109 for that second weekend, and I think that's Grand Prix weekend. So I'm guessing the horseshoe's crying a little bit that we have such a good deal, and the resort fee is also the most amazing deal. It's only $15 per night for the resort fee, where resort fees on in other places are 59, 69 bucks. So it's the room block is an amazing deal. I'm thoroughly impressed.
I didn't realize that the Grand Prix Formula One stuff is going to stay was it's ongoing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Which, again, that's kind of cool because if there are readers in Chicago, someone might come in because they're a reader and they want to meet their favorite author, and their partner or spouse might be an avid Formula One race guy, and he's excited or she's excited because they've got such great seats and such great room rate for Formula One. So it's the best of all possible worlds.
Yeah, it's funny. I just talking to the Uber drivers or the taxi drivers, from going from the airport to the hotel, they're just like roiling in their eyes. They're like, yeah, it's still going on.
They're so sad. It's the word. I mean, I'm automatically like, sorry, dude. I'm like, sorry, I'm gonna make you go like 3 miles down the road in this traffic. Traffic was pretty bad this year.
Yeah, they might be
yeah.
rolling their eyes, but they so appreciate all of us coming in there.
They do. They're really, really great about that too. And the hotel is really easy to work with. We've been really happy with everything that they've got. And I think it's kind of cool now that we have all these tips for sharing, how to maximize your experience, how to save a little money. Go downstairs and get that souvenir cup at $6.99, but it's buck refills all week. Like those are the little tips and tricks that we can share with one another to make it a little more palatable. Because Vegas is expensive. It's an investment in your business. It is.
Right.
And every year, you want to be sure that you can afford what you're doing, but there's ways that you can make it hurt a little less. It's a little
That's
less
true.
painful.
Like the little foldable, not a coffee maker, but
the tea kettles. Yeah. It's the collapsible tea kettles that you can have in your room. We did that, and we got protein oatmeal, and we had ramen. We had little staples that make it so that you don't have to have every meal in a restaurant, and you don't have to starve. You can also get those if you have gluten intolerances or food allergies. You can make sure that you've got that. And all the rooms have a refrigerator. They don't have a microwave, and they don't have a coffee maker. So I go to Target and I get 2 bottles of cold brew, and that's how I can function first thing in the morning. So,
there's not just the coffee, right? I saved $150 in coffee alone because I drink a lot of coffee, but I saved the 40 minutes it took to have to put clothes on, leave my room, go downstairs, get a coffee. Then when I finish it, then go back down and get another coffee because buying 3 of them at a time, they get cold. That kettle was a lifesaver. And then because it was NaNoWriMo, I got more time for writing in those early morning hours before the conference started.
Yeah. I think we're going to have some built-in NaNoWriMo stuff in the morning too. And
really?
I'd like to have chair yoga in the morning so that people can get a good stretch in the morning, come down and get some coffee and stretch a little bit, have a couple of places where you can sit and sprint. And Nora Phoenix is an amazing timer of sprints. She scared me in Edinburgh. I walked into the romance room and Nora was timing it, and we were doing 20-minute sprints, and Mary Mayweather was trying to talk to me, and Nora was like, don't talk. And so I was very scared. And that's how I ended up in the nonfiction room, because I was like so scared of Nora, although she's so fun and amazing. That's how I ended up in the nonfiction room, and I met Alice. So indirectly, Nora is responsible for starting the magazine because she scared me out of the timing of the romance rooms. But
go Nora.
Those little fun anecdotes. You never know where things are going to end up.
You really don't.
No.
Here's a question from Terry. Will there be coffee and refreshments in the sessions, during the sessions, like there has been in the past?
Yeah, my blog is called Suitably Caffeinated, so you can be sure that there will be coffee and refreshments. I will walk. We will ride at dawn if there are not coffee and refreshments. But yes, I'm sure we will have coffee. And the cookies as big as your face.
They really are.
They are. One thing that we have been told is that we need to have more cookies out. So I think we will take that to heart and make sure everybody can get a cookie.
Right. Just gonna bring this one. This one's kind of funny. Whoop, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Here it is. Rachel says, "Really? Most hotels, at least in California, have a coffee maker with 2 packets of ground coffee."
Not when they want you to gamble.
Really, it's
it's
true.
Vegas is Vegasing. They want you out on the floor. They do not want you in the room. Rachel, I'm so sorry. That's just a Vegas thing. Most hotels anywhere but Vegas want you to be satisfied, but Vegas wants you to be Vegasing. Get out there, gamble, spend money on their stuff.
Yeah. Even New York, where they put you in like a little closet, they at least have a coffee maker in there too.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah,
The
Vegas is
coffee
its
seems so
own.
much bigger in a New York hotel room, though, when you think about it.
Yeah, it's just ginormous mugs.
They are big
There's a.
rooms in Vegas, at least.
I will tell you, there's like you said, bring a French press, bring your
Hmm.
own kettle. There's a lot of folks that have some great tips, and we have some FAQs that we're going to be putting out later this week on collaborative ways that people have told us that they save money. I,
That's a great
I had
idea.
I got my Caesar's reward card, and I go down and use it at the Lavazza in the hotel there. There's a Lavazza, and you can pay for it with your points, with your Caesar's points. So when you stay at a hotel, they give you points, and you can redeem the points for coffee.
So
Just
Lavazza, for folks who haven't been there, that's like the coffee shop. That's right in the lobby. So everyone's kind of like brain dead, getting down there first thing in the morning,
yep,
eyes drooping, red eyed from the night before. And there's always a long line. And on day one, I kind of looked over to the left, or I guess it was to the right, and saw, I can't remember the name, but there was another coffee shop like kind of nestled in one of the
Nosh.
far. Nosh.
Nosh.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah.
You go over there,
yeah.
there's nobody there, and
There's
it's all the
nobody
same
there.
kind of stuff.
You can also toddle through to the Paris on the other side, and there's a couple of great restaurants and little cafes over there in the Paris side, which it's probably a 5-10 minute walk. It's not far. You're gonna
Yeah,
get
but
your
when you're half,
steps.
but when you're half asleep and grumpy, like, well, speaking for myself.
Yeah.
Question here from Beth: will recordings of the events be available later on YouTube, like with the 20 books event, like with
So
how
it'll
20 books
be
was?
Yeah, it'll be a little bit different. They're not going to be
Yeah.
open on YouTube. We're not going to have the live streaming like we did before for a lot of reasons, but we will record every session and then we'll create a post production and then we'll have them on a separate space, which will actually be able to have discussion forums and more interactivity with the speakers post event. So it won't be on YouTube like they were before, but there'll be
Okay.
an elevated experience, and that will be a separate ticket. It'll be the remote option basically, and they'll be done in post production and have some added benefits to it. So again, the most time and labor consuming part of the live stream was support, and people weren't able to
Okay.
ask questions, and the live streams glitched out, and they weren't able to capture it. There was just too much to be able to reliably do that. So we want to have a reliable, really elevated post production, so they'll be available but not on YouTube.
Okay. And I want to make sure I understand it correctly, Shell. Is there going to be like a live event? Let me see. Let me make sure I articulate this correctly. Are there going to be
Yeah,
separate tickets for people who want to attend live, then possibly another ticket for people who wanted to just be able to view the pre-recorded sessions later on?
yeah, there'll be a live come to the show ticket and come
Okay.
and experience it, experience the networking, experience the in-person sessions, experience everything that's there, and there will be an after party, if you will, with all of the recorded sessions after they've been edited, and they will be in a separate space, and you can buy a ticket for that separately.
Okay. And then I'm sorry again. I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
so people who attend the live event, can they also view the recorded stuff later
Yes.
on? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It will include that.
Awesome. So then they don't
A
have to
live.
worry about missing a session, or that there are two
Right.
concurrent sessions they want to attend. Perfect.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Gosh, this has
again,
gone by really quickly.
it's gone by very quickly. But again, for those folks that are concerned about missing a session, you're not going to miss a session. It'll be recorded, right? So if you need to go up to your room and take a break, go up to your room and rest. Don't feel
Yeah.
like you have to continue to like input stuff. Give yourself a break and take a minute. It'll be there. You're not going to miss anything. We'll make sure that you're not going to miss anything.
This is exciting. I'm looking forward to it. It's, I mean, it was a long week, but it was such a good
I would
week,
like a few more naps, and then I will look forward to it
right?
again.
Goodness.
Maybe 2 more naps.
There you go. We're coming to the end of our session here with Shell. So I just want to thank everybody for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing to our little channel here. It's really helpful for us when you do subscribe. And be sure, please, to bookmark dddlive.com, because we do this every week, or we try to do it every week, every Thursday. Same channel, same time. Bookmark DDD Live so you can see what topics are coming up in the next weeks. And then finally, if you're not yet a DDD account holder, why not sign up for a free DDD account simply by going to draft2digital.com. If you would be so kind, Chelle, hang out for a second. We are going to sign off here. But before we do, we're going to play our quick little DDD print commercial. I want to thank all of our viewers for joining us once again. And of course, our guests, Mark Leslie Lefebvre and Chelle Honiker, for joining today. Thanks so much,
you guys.
Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. And we'll catch all of you. Actually, we won't catch you next week because next week is Thanksgiving here and elsewhere. But we'll
Well,
catch
for some
you.
of you people in America.
I was going to say, not for Mark.
Yeah, all right.
I'll be
His
here
is
by
next
myself,
month.
maybe. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark will be here by himself. We'll see you all on November 30th. Bye, everybody, and thanks again for joining.
Ebooks are great, but there's just something about having your words in print. Something you can hold in your hands, put on a shelf, sign for a reader. That's why we created DDD Print, a print-on-demand service that was built for you. We have free, beautiful templates to give your book a pro look, and we can even convert your ebook cover into a full wraparound cover for print. So many options for you and your books. And you can get started right now at draft2digital.com.